Pause the video and try this warm-up. Determine the value of x for each equation. At this point, you might have just figured this out by guessing. For example, something plus 2 is 10. Well, I know that 8 plus 2 is 10, so therefore this is 8. Or 3 times something is 15. Well, I know my times table, so I know 3 times 5 is 15, so I know that x is 5. Or something divided by 2 is 50. Half of something is 50. Well, I know that must be 100. So for most of these, you probably had some sort of an intuitive method of figuring out what the answer was. But in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to solve equations like this in a more step-by-step fashion that will work even if you can't just tell by looking at the equation what the answer is going to be. So we're calling these 1- and 2-step equations. So what I mean is you can solve equations using algebra in either 1 step or 2 steps. So you can think of it as in the first spiral of this course, we're looking at simpler equations to solve. In spirals 2 and 3, we'll be solving more complex equations. But the basic principles of solving equations is going to be the same. Before we get to solving equations as examples, let's get some basics down. An equation is a statement that two things are the same. This is slightly different than an expression. In an expression, you're not saying that it's equal to anything. For example, if I just said 3x, that's an expression. But 3x equals 6, now that's an equation. Because I'm saying this is equal to this. Two things are equal. So to solve an equation, you need to determine the unknown value so that the statement is true. So in my example here, my equation is 3x equals 6. To solve this equation, I'm figuring out what x is equal to. That's my unknown value. In order to solve, you need to isolate. So isolate the variable by maintaining balance in the equation. And we do that by using opposite operations. So when I say isolate, you need to know what that means. Isolate means to get it by itself. So when I isolate the variable, I'm making it so that the variable is all by itself in the equation. I'll illustrate this with some examples. So here I have 5 different equations, and for all of them I'm asking you to solve. Remember, solve means you're figuring out the unknown value. So in this case, we're figuring out what y is equal to. In order to solve, we need to isolate the variable. In order to isolate the variable, we need to move all the terms that are not that variable to the other side of the equal sign. We're trying to maintain balance, but still move terms to the other side so that we can isolate our variable. So for this one, y minus 3 equals 2. Well, if I want to eliminate this term on the left-hand side so that y is by itself, I need to do the opposite operation. So right now it's subtracting 3. What's the opposite? Adding 3. Now I can't just add 3 to the left side of the equation because now I've changed the equation. So to keep this equal, to keep the equation unchanged overall, I need to do the same thing on the other side. So I've added 3 on the left, I'm going to add 3 on the right. So now on the left-hand side, I have y minus 3 plus 3. Well, minus 3 plus 3 is 0, so those just cancel out. So on the left, I just have y. On the right, I have 2 plus 3, which is 5. So now that I've done that manipulation, I have y equals 5. Now, you may have looked at this and known the answer intuitively. You might just look at it and say, well, I know If I'm subtracting 3 and the answer is 2, I had to be starting with 5. And that's fine. I'm just using a simple example to illustrate a larger idea that you can use once the equations get more complex. So the question was, to solve, the answer is y equals 5. This is the solution. This is the value of my unknown. So we can do a similar thing here. X plus 2 equals negative 3. How do you maintain balance in order to isolate x? Well, you do the opposite again. Instead of plus 2, we're going to do minus 2. Since we changed the left, we have to change the right so that they're still equal. We're maintaining balance. So plus 2 minus 2 cancels out. We're left with x on the left-hand side. And on the right, we have negative 3 minus 2. Well, that's minus 5. So our answer is x equals minus 5. For the next one, r divided by 8 equals 7. Well, we want to do the same thing. Our goal is to solve for r. Right now it's being divided by 8. So to isolate r, we have to do the opposite operation. What's the opposite of dividing by 8? It's times 8. So we can multiply the left side by 8. Since we made that change, we have to maintain balance. So we have to do the same change on the right-hand side. So both sides get multiplied by 8. Divide by 8 times 8, those are opposites. They cancel out. So on the left, we're left with r. On the right, we have 7 times 8, which is 56. So r equals 56. Here, 8 equals 2 times x. To solve for x, we got to get rid of that 2. So we got to do the opposite. Right now, it's being multiplied by 2. The opposite is dividing by 2. So we'll divide both sides by 2, and we get 4 equals x. Now, just a side note here. A lot of people feel uncomfortable about writing 4 equals x. They want to write x equals 4. It means the same thing, so it really doesn't matter which way you write it. And this last one is very similar to the one up here. It involves our variable is being multiplied by a number, so we have to divide both sides by that number. The only issue people tend to have here is the negative sign. For some reason, that messes people up. But think of it this way. The coefficient is negative 2. That's what you're multiplying by. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is dividing by negative 2. You just divide by the same number. So if you divide both sides by negative 2, the negative 2's cancel each other out on the left. You're left with x equals negative 7. So these are all examples of what I'm calling one-step equations, because there was one step that you had to do in order to solve. You only had to add or subtract or multiply or divide by a single number. The next examples are going to be examples of two-step equations. So for all of these equations, you have to follow the guideline of getting rid of the constant first. So take care of the constant, and then you can get rid of the coefficient. So another way you can think of it is the number that is attached to your variable gets eliminated last. All the other terms get eliminated first. So for this first example, 3x minus 1 equals 5. Well, I want to isolate x. I want x all by itself. So ultimately, I want x equals something. I don't want 3x equals something, so I need to get rid of that 3. But it's attached to the x. So I need to eliminate this term first, the minus 1. So to get rid of minus 1, I need to do the opposite, which is plus 1. So I'll add 1 on both sides. I end up with 3x equals 6. Now I can take care of that 3. I'll divide both sides by 3, and I end up with x equals 2. So these equations aren't as simple just to solve by looking at it and using your intuition, because there's more steps involved. So that's why we started with the easy ones. Now we're building up to the more complex equations. So with this one, q divided by 2 plus 3 equals 7. I want to isolate to get q all by itself. That means I need to eliminate the 2 and the 3. The 2 is attached. It's in the same term as the q, so I'm going to do that one last. Take care of this one first. What's the opposite? Minus 3. Do that to both sides. You end up with q divided by 2 equals 4. Okay, now to solve for q, I need to multiply both sides by 2. So I end up with q equals 8. Now I'm going to challenge you to pause the video and try the next 2 equations on your own. Don't be tricked by the negative signs. Just follow the same steps as we have been doing up until this point, and you can pause the video and check in to see how you do. So for this one, I have to get rid of the 4 first. The opposite is minus 4, so I do that to both sides. Those cancel out. I'm left with minus 2y on the left, and negative 8 minus 4 is minus 12 on the right. So negative 2y equals negative 12. To get y by itself, I have to divide by the coefficient, which is negative 2. Do that on both sides. We're left with y on the left, and negative 12 divided by negative 2 is positive 6. So y equals 6. Over here, get rid of the 2 first. So opposite of plus 2 is minus 2. Do that to both sides. I end up with minus 8 on the left and minus x on the right. The coefficient in front of x is minus 1. So that's what I divide both sides by. So I end up with 8 equal to x. So now here's an example of a word problem. And in this word problem, we're going to find that we can solve it using an equation. Movie tickets are $8.50 each, and Bob spent $136. How many tickets did he buy? Now, you can probably solve this in a way that you've done in grade 7 or 8 without algebra. But the reason I want you to use algebra is so that you can practice, so that you can get better using algebra to solve problems once the problems get more complex. So what we're going to do is we're going to define a variable, write an equation, and solve the equation. So the variable is the letter that represents the unknown value. And the unknown value is what you're solving when you solve an equation. So the variable is the thing that you're trying to figure out. So if you're not sure what to make your variable, just go back to the question. What is it asking you to figure out? Well, it's how many tickets did he buy? So our variable is going to be the number of tickets. So I'll just use n to represent the number of tickets. So I've defined my variable. Now I'm going to write an equation. Okay, movie tickets are $8.50 each. And Bob spent $136. Okay, so that's the total amount of money he spent. And it was made up of all of the tickets that he bought for $8.50 each. So the total amount of money he spent was $8.50 multiplied by the number of tickets. So there's my equation. 8.5 times n is equal to 136. So I've defined my variable, I have an equation, and now I can just solve the equation to get my answer. I want to isolate n, so I need to divide by the coefficient on n, which is 8.5. So if I divide both sides by 8.5, I end up with n equals 16. So I solved the equation. Now I can make my conclusion. How many tickets did he buy? Well, therefore, based on this, he bought 16 tickets. And again, you probably figured out that you would have to do 136 divided by 8.5 in order to find the number of tickets. You don't have to use algebra, but I just wanted to show you you can solve this with algebra and it works. So if you get in the habit of using algebra to solve problems like this, you'll be better at it when the questions are more complex and you have to use algebra to solve them. Okay, last example. Bertha rented a room for $85, then paid $3 per person for a party. In total, she spent $133. How many people went to Bertha's party? So to solve this problem, we're going to follow the same steps as before. We're going to define the variable, create an equation, and then solve the equation. So I'd like you to pause the video and try to figure this one out. I'll give you a little hint. This is not going to be a one-step equation like the previous example. This is a little more complex. So make your variable, and then to come up with your equation, make sure you read through the question carefully and see what you can come up with. So pause the video, try it, and then check back here. The question is asking how many people went to Bertha's party. Well, how many people? That's our variable. P is the number of people. You could use any letter you want, but it's a letter and it represents the number of people at the party. Okay, so the total cost was the original flat fee, which was $85, plus another $3 per person. So that's where this 85 plus 3p came from. $85 just to rent the room, and then another $3 for each person. And the total she spent was $133. So there's the equation. Now to solve the equation, eliminate the 85 by subtracting by 85 on both sides. You end up with 3p equals 48. To find p by itself, divide both sides by the coefficient on the p, which is 3. So 3p divided by 3 is p, 48 divided by 3 is 16, so p equals 16, therefore 16 people went to her party. So over the last few lessons, we've slowly been building skills in algebra so that we can solve equations in order to solve problems. And if you have any issues with solving one-step equations or two-step equations, please let me know and I'll do my best to help. Otherwise, you can move on to the practice questions.